Hey guys, welcome back to the Girlfriends and Goals podcast. My name is Samaria, and I'm joined by my best friend and co host.
Miosha.
And today we are reviewing Married at First Sight season 19, episodes 8 through 10. So,
Hmm.
if you're following along with this season, make sure you meet us in the comments to let us know your thoughts, your agreements, your disagreements, all of it. And
Hmm.
please make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already. All
Yep.
right, all the what do they call it, the home something home business, what do they call it?
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it
Okay,
right now. My brain is
cool,
still
but that's
asleep.
out the way.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping, that's what it is. Megan and Derek, episode 8.
Okay.
So we're at day 19, and this is right after their big fight about
Hmm.
him talking to Scott about
The
their,
kid.
yeah, them
Yeah.
having kids.
The
Right.
family planning. So Derek says he apologizes, says, I'm sorry that I triggered you. She was mainly upset, I guess, at him talking to Scott about it instead of coming to her. And then I also think the way he phrased it when he brought it up to her, like, well, Scott has
Scott.
it.
I
Why
said,
Scott in it?
yeah.
Um, and so he is rubbing her hand and, he calms her. Apparently that's his way of reconnecting with her.
Yeah.
I say at this point he seems a bit on eggshells.
Yeah, I don't know that it's the best dynamic. In all of their arguments, I can see Megan's point of view. So it's never
Hmm.
like, I think she's just so out there. I just hate how she handles it. Like, I think there's a better way to communicate certain things, like, oh, I felt caught off guard. Like, I thought we were doing well. Or,
Hmm.
okay, I hear what you're saying. I definitely want kids. How did this Scott conversation go down? Because, yeah, she wasn't privy to how it started. We were. So, yeah, I just think sometimes she has valid perspectives, but because she doesn't take the time to calmly address them with him,
Hmm.
it escalates the situation
Oh, she's 0 to 100
real
very
quick.
quick. And I think that's what throws him off and makes him feel like I don't want to broach certain topics with you because I don't, even simple things. Like to me, I just haven't seen anything that would warrant the quickness in the way that she responds. But
She is
yeah.
quick with it. But anyway, after that, they go and visit her parents. He gets to meet her dad for the very first time.
Hmm.
And we see Kathy again, who is Megan's mother.
We do. But in this interaction, she seems to have warmed up to the idea of Derek and Megan being married. All that me mugging we were getting at the wedding, I didn't see it.
Yeah. She was a
So,
lot nicer. And I think it's because she knows his parents. Because that was one of the first things that we heard her say was, I
mm,
miss your parents. I hope this works so we can all get together. She wants a friend. Kathy wants a new girlfriend. She does not want a son-in-law.
and on the one hand, I could understand her not wanting to get too close
For
if
sure.
they say no, but you still didn't have to tell those people that some things are better left unsaid.
Unsaid. Kathy doesn't have a
Mm,
filter. But
mm,
they ask him what he likes most about her, and they talk about the financial burden of having kids. I thought that
mm.
was an interesting discussion.
I was actually happy that they had it, given that the parents seem to have means at least at this stage.
Hmm.
I think it's important to see people at different points of life in terms of their financial journey having a realistic view on what it means to have children in 2024 at the time. So I also was happy that Megan, I think it was later in the conversation, was just like, my mom may want grandkids, but she's not the
He's not
one.
gonna help.
Yeah, she has an active social life. She'll buy gifts, but don't expect that she'll, be super hands on. So I was, yeah, be honest about it because I think some people could assume, oh, well, they live right here. Of course, they'll just help watch the kids, especially if there's three of them.
Right.
That's a very big assumption.
Listen, Kathy is young. She's out here. She's looking for new friends. She's trying to explore, okay? She is
Was
not.
that Megan's friend and husband, or was that her sister?
Okay, I thought it was her sister and her
And the
sister's
sister's husband.
husband.
Okay.
That's what I
And,
thought, but I
and
could
it
be
sounds
wrong.
as though they have a kid or two
Mm-hmm.
already, at
Yeah.
least. Okay.
So I Megan's parents are talking about, oh yeah, we're ready for her to have kids, all this stuff. Her dad is saying she'll be a great parent at this stage in her life, but Megan, we hear, is
Mhm.
not interested in multiple births. So it's not just okay, I want to stay away from being pregnant, or I'm afraid of giving birth. It's I'm okay with giving birth, but the whole multiple times thing is not it. And so already I'm like, she and Derek need to start to compromise. I think her parents maybe helped a little bit with that because
Mhm.
they were saying to him, have one first and see what that's like before you jump into the second and the third.
Right. I will say though, her parents do already have grandchildren. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not as though, so I don't know. I was just like, what is all this pressing for? Y'all have live grandchildren already. And I get being excited for her, but I think in today's time, 3 kids is a lot. And specifically for Megan, if she's afraid of birth, acknowledge that. So
Yeah. Okay.
then I have them at the vineyard date.
Okay, gotcha. So I had that they went back home and talked about the whole pregnancy
Oh,
thing. She says
yeah.
maybe we'll get lucky and have triplets, which I don't know that that's what you want either, but
I mean, she said one and done.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, at the vineyard.
Yeah. So he says that he has really strong feelings for her. He's excited to keep this going. I don't know. I feel like they're progressing, but because of their conflict and communication style, I'm almost surprised that both of them are saying the things that they're saying.
Interesting. I'm trying to figure this out. At hopefully, we'll hear more if Megan does interviews after the season. But he shares about the strong feelings, and then she's hesitant to share back. Like she says, it's a little awkward now, and it's scary being vulnerable with
Mhm.
him. And so I still don't know if it's the awkwardness of the cameras being there or
But
if
then
she,
she says, I love you when they were watching
right.
the pictures and videos, and then he doesn't say it back. I go back to like, yes, they're progressing, but I see their very different conversation and conflict styles as a pretty significant thing,
Hmm.
only because of how small the issues seem.
Mm-hmm.
That I get shocked when he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm all in on this."
He
You
does seem
are,
very much all in though. Like does he does seem
and
all
she's in love already. You
yeah.
are the way you go from 0 to 100 on this.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't have anything else on them.
same.
Okay. So then we go to would you like to do Pat and Rhonda? I have a little
Yeah.
bit on them. They didn't really show them much this episode.
They did it. Good for them. Have a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Some positivity. Let Miss Rhonda rest. So
Yeah.
they're watching the space launch,
Yes.
and he's all in on it. And I was happy to see them doing and having a conversation centered around his interest.
So was I, and she woke up at what 5 in the morning to
Hmm.
share this moment with him. So I appreciated that. If we're gonna criticize Miss Rhonda, I think we need to
Hmm.
give her her tens when she does something positive. So
But things quickly shift, at least with the
dang,
editing of
Yosha, I didn't even finish the sentence.
quick shift. They're at this concert in the park, very austiny thing to do. And things seem to be going well. They're vibing, but I say y'all are feeling saucy, feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
I hope this goes well because sometimes when you mix alcohol into things, emotions are heightened
Yeah.
and patience may be lacking. And so she gets choked up about this song that's playing and how it's one of her favorite songs and what it means to her. Pat brings up how it means something different to him. And now she's upset that the moment she felt as though where they should have been talking and centered around her
Mm-hmm.
was brought to back to him.
and I didn't feel like his response was dismissive of what she felt. I thought he was trying to add to the conversation. And so,
Participate.
right. And so I think it's just them learning each other. Maybe he needs to learn your participation needs to be delayed and just cater to what she wants in the moment. I don't know. I would have enjoyed that he engaged in that moment. But like she said, she still had tears in her eyes. And maybe it wasn't the time.
I will say for Miss Rhonda, we've seen her get emotional a couple of times on camera. So
Mhm.
I wonder if she feels like I'm in a heightened state of emotion, don't gloss past it so fast. Uh
I can
but
see
I
that.
feel like she's just maybe a more emotional person.
Yeah.
And so I think for him, it's just going to be learning to navigate. Is this a lighthearted thing or is this something she needs to sit in? Now,
Yeah.
for some people, it can be if they're just getting to know you and you're crying or you've cried a couple times, they may find themselves in an awkward position of, what do I
What do I
do? Do I
do?
hug you? Do I progress the conversation forward so you're not in the part crying? Do you want to sit in the cry?
Yeah.
What
And
do you do?
I also think it's just yeah. I think it's just him learning her. I feel like in that moment, maybe what she wanted was him to be comforting to her.
Mm.
But then on her end, you can't always control how people react. And so I'm seeing maybe where they both need to have a little bit of balance. Maybe her, well, she's articulated what she wants, but
I think she has, but imagine if you're spending a lot of time with a person,
you
you're
don't
having
know
a
what
lot
it's
of
going
different
to be.
conversations. Well,
Mhm.
okay, now do I interject or don't I? I think some people may even see the lack of response as a lack of interest. So,
Yes.
uh,
So, like for me, his response wasn't. There was nothing wrong with his response.
mhm.
But I can understand that he's not married to me. He's married to Miss Rhonda, and for Miss Rhonda, maybe she just wanted him to engage a little bit more with how she was feeling in that moment and all that that meant for her. It seemed to be a really profound thing for her.
Mhm.
So
I
yeah.
agree.
All right,
All
well, that's
right.
all on them. All right, the people who we have a lot on are Will and Brittany and Jalen and Josh. So maybe let's just get
Okay.
Belinda and Chad out of the way as well so we can dive into the
Yeah. One thing I will say, so we're at episode, what is this, 8?
eight.
And I remember being more critical of Chad in the beginning of
Hmm.
him being married multiple times. What is this going to look like? But
Yeah.
him and Belinda have seemed to settle into a good groove, unless we're just not seeing any conflicts from them or to where they're
Okay.
not showing it. What do you
I
think?
have to plug
Right?
my thing back in.
No,
But
you're fine.
I am hesitant just because he's been married so many times. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like maybe he's a person who starts really strong, but then to sustain it might be more difficult. And so I don't think we will see anything negative within the 8 weeks. I think if anything happens, it'll be after the cameras have left. Maybe even I don't know if they're doing a Where Are They Now episode,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe even after that. So I don't expect any major changes with this couple.
Yeah, we're not seeing a whole lot. She
Mm-mm.
brings up changing her name, how it's a long process, but
Mhm.
she's really excited to do it.
And I wouldn't do that if I were her with a man who has been married 3 times before. I wouldn't do that right now. Like I said, I just
No.
think we should wait a little bit and see how Uncle Chad, because they're younger, Belinda
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so
They are.
how Uncle Chad, uh, yeah, how this plays out for him.
Yeah, he says we're in this together, and he says he feels comfortable, happy, and safe. And
He said,
so,
"There's nothing about her that's not ideal," and I love that he thinks that. I think I really like Belinda, and so to see somebody shower her with love and all of that, it really does
mhm.
make my heart happy.
Yeah, and I wonder too, if because he's been through these multiple marriages, where he's learned a lot and he's
Mm-hmm.
finally trying to apply what he's learned. And so
Hmm.
I'm trying to lean towards maybe he's just learned a lot because he's had practice, but every person is different that he would have been married to. Um, or they're just getting a really good at it. And maybe she's non-confrontational and not bringing up things. So,
Okay. Which is similar to how her daughter is, actually. So
mm-hmm.
let's go into Jalen and Josh.
Okay.
They wake up one morning and Josh is taking her skydiving. And she had mentioned, I guess, that it was on her bucket list. But to have something
Mentioned
on your
lightly.
bucket, huh?
Mentioned probably lightly.
Right. Like he probably said something about skydiving. She was like, yeah, that'll be on my bucket list. She probably hadn't even put it on her bucket list yet. It was a thought. But now she's going. And so she talks about how that's what she wanted. She wanted someone who would pull her out of her comfort zone. So if she's happy
Mm-hmm.
with it, if she like it, I love it.
Yeah. And they have a good time. So,
But I will say him pointing these things out as gifts to her, I find
mm,
interesting. Um, yeah, because they seem more like gifts to him and
they
things that
are
he's
because
interested in than to her. And
yeah.
so I've just always felt a little uneasy about how that dynamic could play out. And she says,
Mm-hmm.
I wish we're going to a spa, and that's not the first time she said something like that. So I just want her to be a little bit more vocal,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. So
I agree. I agree.
okay.
Okay. Then we
So
get to this scene where they're rewriting their vows, and he expresses that even with the vows that they originally wrote before they met each other, that it took him a couple of days just to get those paragraphs down. And so he seems to be very sensitive to this whole process of being on the spot and him feeling like what he would write wouldn't be good enough. She tries to reassure him that, hey, even if you only write two sentences, at least it's specific to the person that you've gotten to know over the last couple of weeks. Um, and he pushes back and he just does not want to read them out loud.
yeah. How did you feel about that?
I felt like it wasn't on purpose. I think maybe writing is something that maybe he's struggled with in the past, and he felt like maybe I don't want to be embarrassed around my writing skills or what I'm able to do on television. I took it as this is a deeper thing than just what we saw.
Hmm.
Like this is something he's maybe been sensitive to. And
Yeah,
I, because he kept reiterating, like, you don't understand how hard it was for me to do it
the
the
first time.
first time. So
Mhm.
why do I need to do it again, especially when the cameras are right there on him?
Mhm.
And so I didn't take it as him not wanting to be expressive to her or reassure her or anything. I took it as, oh, he's feeling away because this is something he's maybe struggled with in the past.
And
So,
I agree. I didn't have an issue with him feeling like, okay, this isn't something I can do.
hmm
Writing doesn't come easily to everybody. If it took him 4 days before, maybe he needs more time. And I think in the perfect world, maybe he would just ask for that. Like, hey, can we do this in a few more days? Can this not be an activity that's just for today? Or if I'm going to read this, can we read it off camera? Like maybe I
hmm
would have just liked him to uh, handle handle her differently because I can fully see why she felt slighted because I've been doing all these things that I'm not necessarily comfortable with. And she mentioned like the skydiving. I just went skydiving, and it doesn't feel like he's giving the same amount of effort. I don't think it was an effort thing. I
hmm
think people learn differently, people produce differently, and writing can just be a delicate
hmm
activity, right?
Oh
And so
yeah.
I didn't feel that way, but I can understand why she felt like, hey, push through. I pushed through with the skydiving, with the jumping
hmm
off the boat, with the so many different things, and I just want more from you.
I
And
will say.
Yeah.
I want Jalen also to just start saying no. Like you can't keep saying yes and collecting points and then be like, "Oh, but I've been doing all this." Well,
Yeah.
you should only be doing the things that you're comfortable with anyway.
Yeah.
So,
And just
I
because you're okay with a partner taking you outside of your comfort zone, unfortunately, you can't expect that from the person you're with.
and I think that was her expectation. I'm
Yeah.
doing all of these things. Now I asked for this very small thing, but I think to her it's small, and because they're getting to know each other, she maybe even doesn't realize what his feelings are around writing and his
Mhm.
abilities. And
Yeah.
so,
If this were any other activity, like something that didn't have to do with performing in this way,
mhm.
I would have been completely on board with Jordan. Like, if this were, oh, I want to go to a spa, or I
Mhm.
want to, if this were anything else that didn't have to do with reading, writing, performing in some type of way, I would be fully on board with Jordan.
Mhm.
I mean, with Jalen.
Yeah.
But yeah, because it was this, I can't fully
Yeah.
support her.
Yeah, I think there were little things they both could have done
Mhm.
different
Yeah.
in that moment. But then laying in bed, they follow up on it, and he just said that he didn't want to be put on the spot. But then she says it made her question if there is something else going on. But then they seem to move past it.
Yeah. I thought she handled it pretty well. Like when once he said it felt like pressure, I thought she
Hmm.
was very understanding. I didn't know what else she could have thought it was when she was articulating
Yeah.
that. I'm like, okay,
Mm,
but who knows? They're the ones in the relationship, so
yeah.
yeah. I said that I hope he would give her that same level of understanding when the roles are reversed, because there will come a time where she has to say, I'm not comfortable with this.
Hmm.
And I hope that he shows her the level of grace that she showed him.
Yeah. Leave it alone.
All right. And then the episode ends for them when they come back from hanging out with his friends. It turns out Josh is still following his ex on socials, which is something that he seemed to be okay with not doing when Jalen, why do I keep calling her Jordan?
You still thinking about Love Is Blind?
There was, oh yeah, okay. I was like, there was
Hmm.
a Jordan on Love Is Blind, but yes, there was. Anyway, Jalen had mentioned it was a no-no for her. He seemed okay with it, and so it's shocking to her that he's still following and communicating with the ex.
And more specifically, he was the one that said he unfollowed her. So it wasn't even that he said, "Oh yeah, I don't have an issue with doing it." It was he said that he did it, but turns out he didn't. So it was a lie.
Mm-hmm.
The whole unfollowing thing, and I can see why that would make her uncomfortable. Like, I don't know, Josh, do you have a little lying problem?
Like she said, what is a mistake you can let go of, and what is a red flag that you should leave for? And I think at Jalen's age, those are the types of questions that you should be asking of any
E-
relationship.
Even so, at this point, even the story with the post nup and the best friend, that was an involved lie. Now
Yeah.
we're here at the whole, oh, I unfollowed her, but I didn't.
Hmm.
Strike two.
Yeah. And someone left a comment on our last video, but it was about
Mm.
these episodes. So
Oh,
I did delete it just because I didn't want to do spoilers for people.
okay.
But so if they're watching this, I want them to know, if they're like, why isn't my comment
Hmm.
there? I just, because it was a spoiler for these episodes, I was like, let me
Yes.
remove it in case people are still trying to get caught up.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we'll stop there with them and then go to Will and Brittany for this
Okay.
episode. So Brittany, I guess, mentioned that she loves live wrestling shows,
Hmm.
and Will was very proud of him. Set up a date where
Hmm.
they went to a wrestling ring,
Hmm.
and they ended up meeting Mark Henry, who
Hmm.
Will gave us all these facts about. He's the
Yeah.
strongest man, and he's this and he's that, and so it's just a really big person in the wrestling world. I thought
Hmm.
that was so sweet. I thought it was thoughtful, intentional, kind.
Hmm. Yeah. And
Good
they
job,
look like they had a great time. I do
Rachel.
think he was being a bit rough on her at certain points. Couldn't have been me, but she enjoyed it. She enjoyed it.
Oh, man.
Oh gosh. So I think was it?
It was while they were at the ring where she was talking about how great things are. And he
Mm-hmm.
says that, I agree, but things could change.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to see what she meant by, okay, I need some type of validation. And I was proud of her because she spoke out about that in that moment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would I asked myself, why would he say that? Like, it's just not the time. If I'm talking to
Mm-hmm.
you about how great things are going and all of that, I don't need you to be a Debbie Downer. And I can
Mm-hmm.
see for her, it's like, okay, why does he feel the need to say, oh, yeah, but it could change over time? Is he trying to prepare me for the worst? Is he not as into it? And so he doesn't want me to get my hopes up? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can see why this dynamic is messing with her, even though I don't know that he's doing it maliciously.
Mm-hmm.
I see where she's coming from.
Yeah, and I also think too, because of the way this process is laid out, you do have some people who get to the end where they feel like we were 100%. What happened? And so I think for him and his critical, logical mind, he's saying, like, yes, we are in a good place. However, I don't know what the next few weeks will bring. I don't have a crystal ball. So I think he is, to a certain extent, trying to um, keep her level headed and I
Not
guess,
surprise her. But
right. But at the same time, how can she realistically make progress in her feelings if she feels like, oh, we're making progress, but then you reel me back in? So I get what he's doing.
yeah,
It's
but
not
I
ideal,
think
but I
like
get,
Will too.
yeah.
Like everything that he's saying, I would definitely think. I
Hmm.
just I think it's the reading the room. Like,
I,
yeah,
I think
you
he doesn't want to give her more security than what's actually there. And I feel like we've seen this with other couples where one person is like, tell me you're like, basically, we're halfway through or we're 6 weeks through. Let me know if I'm a yes. Like, what was it in Tennessee with, what was her name? They had Chris and it was Kirsten's
Oh,
season.
Nicole. What is
Nicole and how
Kirsten's twins, by the way? Did you know
yeah,
that?
she was basically like, I need to know where you stand. We need to start figuring out our life. We need to figure out where the dogs are going to live. So I get what Brittany's doing because she wants to be prepared, but at the same time, if he's not quite where you're at emotionally, whatever, then it's like, I don't know. Do you want him to give you a false sense of security? But he don't have to say it the way he's been saying it.
Yeah, and so I almost feel like,
Stop asking.
I feel like it's to her, it could feel like mixed signals where I feel like we've taken 10 steps, but then once I talk to you, it feels like you're pulling me back 7 or 8. And so
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Like, yeah, he shouldn't give her a false sense of security. If that's what he's feeling, that's what he's feeling. But we can't fault her for also being cautious if that's what he's telling. Like, she's trying to go based off of what he's communicating to her. And if what he's communicating to her is caution, caution, caution,
Mm-hmm.
why would she feel secure?
And I
She
think
would feel cautious too.
she should be cautious because marrying this person is a huge deal. She should be in a state of evaluating whether she would even say yes. Like her yes shouldn't just be dependent upon if he's a yes. It
Right.
should be her also being more cautious, I think, in evaluating if he's her person. Like, does she want to deal with the person who communicates in this way?
I think I
And
said that later on.
like,
Yeah, next to
I
it.
think it would be okay for you to be cautious as well instead of just being all in because to be honest, the progress that they've made is it enough to where you're like I'm going to marry this person for
But I don't
sure.
think she's all in either. Do you get the sense
No.
that she's all
I
in?
don't think
Okay.
she's
I
all
just wanted to
in,
make sure I was
but I
understanding.
think if Will was showing to her that he was, she would be all in.
But that's anybody, right? Like if you think about anybody's significant others, like sometimes their certainty about you makes you feel more secure and able to
Mm-hmm.
like relax in the process of getting to know them. Like, yeah, you're still getting to know them, but you feel almost like a, okay, I can let my guard down and try to get to know this person to see if they're my person. But before then, it's almost like
Mm-hmm.
all the guards are up. So I feel like
Yeah.
Brittany's trying to get to that point with him where it's like, okay, I'm liking you
Mm-hmm.
and I want to feel the security. I want to feel the safety to continue to like you. But then you keep pumping the brakes on me and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So that's just her
Yeah.
perspective. Again, on his end, because I think the way that he thinks, but don't always
Mm-hmm.
say it, valid.
Yeah.
Very valid.
So they get to the apartment and they're going through the wedding photos.
Mm-hmm.
She admits that she felt like she would feel different,
Mm-hmm.
but she's feeling content. She asked, "How did you think you'd feel on your month?" He said, "Similar to how I do right now, considering marrying a stranger." He said, "I try not to have too many expectations, knowing that we needed to learn each other." She says, "I thought we'd have more emotions." He
Yeah.
says that he does care for her a lot. And he admits that he leads with his head and not his heart. And he says that he's not in love yet and that it takes time for him.
Yeah. So this is where I say I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with her asking for more emotion or noting that she wants more emotion from him. I think if that's what you want in your relationship,
Mhm.
that's what you should seek out. And it really is just a mismatch, you know?
And that's where I want her to focus. Like, I understand wanting to relax in the process, but I almost want her to just focus on her as what he's doing, I think, to evaluate from what I've seen about this person, even in the way he talks, like the incident that happened with the family, like, I get letting your guard down once you realize this person likes me too. But at a certain point, you have to be like, okay, independent of you liking me, from what I've seen, is this a person that I would choose to partner with for the rest of my life? And that's why I agree with you. I don't even know that she's all in. Like, I think she's in a place with also being like, do I want to deal with this?
Yeah, because I think he has redeeming qualities. Like it seems like there are things that are very likable about him. But if she were my friend, I would say it's okay to make a decision based off of how you're feeling. I think in the world that I've probably said this before, but in the world that we live in, it's frowned upon to make emotional decisions. This needs to be a decision that she makes completely emotionally because her emotions are telling her this is not sustainable.
Right. And for her, she's not comfortable. Like she says, there's no doubt on my end. I think she was looking for a similar response. So clearly, I don't think she's would be comfortable with, say, he did have doubts. She's not comfortable with that. And that's okay. Like, if you know that, focus on that.
Yeah. All right. Oh, okay. They go to Rhonda's house for their anniversary thing. I thought it was a beautiful setup. Was there
Yes.
anything that stuck
So
out
the
to
only thing I think we can talk about is when I think someone asked
you? Yeah.
Will how he was feeling or if he loved her.
Yeah, so they were going around
Yeah.
to see if everybody has said that they loved each other. And then, yeah, of course, Jalen and Josh are like, yeah, it's about
Hmm.
loving each other, growing with each other, all the things. Then Chad and Belinda were just like
Hmm.
adding fuel to the fire. And before the others even went, I was like, this is going to be awkward for Brittany and Will and Megan and Derek because at this point, Megan has said I love you, Derek hadn't said it back,
Hmm.
and then Will and Brittany, they're constantly in this state of what is
Hmm.
going on. So yeah.
But let Megan tell it. She technically didn't say it. She said it never happened. Okay.
Yeah. And then for Will and Brittany, after they asked, he said, and I quote, "Oh, I definitely haven't said it." Why would you? Why? Will and romance have never been in the same room. Like, they've just never been on the same accord. Because it's okay to say you haven't said I love you, but in that way, oh, I definitely haven't said it. As it, like, how do you expect her to feel when you say it
Because
like,
in his logical mind, he's being honest. He's being truthful. And I think to him, he's judging all of them thinking that they're crazy for saying they love somebody after only
so
knowing them
quickly?
for a few weeks. So for him, it's completely justifiable. For the rest of us, you would never choose to say it in that way.
Yeah, and he's right. It could be crazy to say I love you after, but I mean, bring back social skills because that's just not. And of course, everybody's like reacting to it, and Brittany says, "Well, this is Will. This is what I get. This is how it always is,"
But
and
what
that's
I
just
didn't like was Megan laughing. Girl, little does the group know you were in your feelings about Derek not reciprocating it. So I was with Will, like, girl, calm down. Like, don't add to this.
you wouldn't have laughed if he said like if he said it. I probably would have been like, "Ooh,
I would
damn."
have been like, ooh, but I wouldn't have laughed. No, nah. I would have been like, laughing. No, especially if I knew I was in my feelings about my partner not saying it. But the rest of the group doesn't know that. And so,
And I will say, just because these couples have said, like some of these couples have said, I love you, that doesn't mean, and that's not hoping anything negative on them, but that doesn't mean that it's going to last too. So saying I love you is nice. And I'm glad that people are having positive feelings toward each other, but it's not a good metric to measure a relationship by.
no. And then you don't even know what's true because after Megan was laughing, they asked her and Derek. He says he has strong feelings, and she said the same. It's a lie. You couldn't even be honest in that moment, but you're laughing. You see Brittany over here in distress. Girl.
You know, I didn't take her laughing negatively, but that's just me.
Mm-mm.
Y'all let us know in the comments what you
The
felt.
you could see the look on Brittany's face.
I
Nah.
don't because I don't know what inspired the laughter. You know, like so I just it didn't rub me the wrong way, and now I'm like maybe I need to go back and rewatch it.
Hmm.
Um,
But yeah, either
yeah,
way, Pat saves the day,
he
gets the kids
did.
together and says, we're all older. You
Gets
think
the
we have
kids
this
together.
you think we have this thing figured out, but it's all hard and your age doesn't matter. And that was episode 8.
All right,
So,
episode 9.
mhm.
We always start the episode with Megan and Derek, I feel.
Yes, we
And this was
do.
no different. So I think we get Megan and Derek and Chad and Belinda out of the way because we have quite a bit
Mhm.
about all the other couples. Yeah.
Yes. So Megan and Derek, I don't have much. They get their intimacy box. They
Yeah.
do a cold plunge.
Mhm.
Megan's a G. She can be in there for forever. Good for her.
And
Um,
then they talked with the experts about their communication styles. He said, I think she said she's more aggressive, he's more passive.
mhm.
And then he said that he loved her. That's it.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. And then Chad and Belinda, we're not really seeing much about. So I'm hopeful that it is just going well for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get their intimacy box. She said, I've kind of been there, done that, not really trying
Mhm.
to. They went to a beer place. They talked about their upbringing. She's a small town girl. He's
Mhm.
always been in like big cities. That's all I
Mhm.
have.
Yeah, that's all I have. Yeah. And they go for pedicures. That's
All
it.
right. There we
Okay.
go. Do you want to go into Jalen and Josh?
Sure.
There's a lot. There's a
Okay.
lot going on there. Okay.
Okay.
So we're still at this place where she's trying to figure out what's going on with the ex-girlfriend, the
Mhm.
unfollowing, the lying, all of that. And so the experts come to help them. And he said, "Oh yeah, I kind of panic responded and said that I had unfollowed her." Okay, well, what triggered the panic? Because Jalen has been very easygoing, you know? So if you're panicking when she's just making a request, or she didn't even make a request, actually.
It sounds like somebody else bought it up, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I
Dr.
unfollowed
Pia,
her."
remember?
Well, no, they had this interaction with their friends.
Oh, okay,
That's
sorry.
where the that's where the lie happened, where a friend brought up, "Oh, how do y'all feel about exes and social media? Like, what does
Yeah.
that look like?" And he was like, "Oh, I already unfollowed her," and he didn't. And so
Hmm.
I think in his mind, since they had already had the conversation with Dr. Pia about unfollowing this ex, fast forward maybe a day or two, he still hadn't done it. And so he thought to lie about it in that moment because he had already said he was going to do it. And Jalen might feel like, well, you said you were going to do it. What's the delay?
Yeah, and I wonder how long it had been. At least a
Hmm.
week, you know,
Oh,
since
yeah, I
since
don't
the
know.
last expert visit. And so I don't understand it. If I were Jalen, I too would be confused because
Hmm.
if you said you had unfollowed the person, right, and you kind
Hmm.
of capitulated to that pretty easily,
Hmm. She didn't even ask you to do it. You jumped and were like, oh, I'll unfollow.
it's not
Okay.
a big deal to me. I'll just do it. Okay, so now that you haven't, is it actually a big deal? And are you not sharing that it's a big deal? And are you just doing stuff or saying stuff to appease me? But there's
Hmm.
something deeper. Like I would have had all the questions that Jalen had. I thought this was a very valid conversation.
Oh, yeah. She says that it's triggering for her. She's,
Mhm.
the unnecessary lying. She's been cheated on. And then Dr. Pia asked her, what does trust repair look like for you as a married woman? Because she was saying how, like, you're not a girlfriend anymore and you can't just run away. Dr. Pia, this is not a real man.
Yeah, sure. It is a real marriage.
More so, they're in a trial, like, there's this trial period where you're evaluating. And so, me personally, I felt as though the whole, well, you're not a girlfriend anymore and you can't run, I understand that logic. But because they're still so early on, I didn't want Dr. Pia to move so quickly past the line part.
Mm,
Like,
okay.
I didn't feel like they spent much time
You
digging.
didn't.
No, I felt like they
Okay.
moved
You
pretty
like
quickly.
you didn't feel like they spent enough time.
Yeah, they were like,
Okay.
did they talk about, okay, Josh, well, why did you lie? Like, make one
Mm,
plus one equals two. It kind of just jumped to, and maybe it was the way it was edited. It jumped to, okay, well, what does repair look like? Well, hold it, hold there. We need to
yeah.
dig deeper on why he was lying,
And
given how agreeable she's been.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Hmm.
And I also would want more information on, from Dr. Pia about, oh, you're married now, so trust repair. Like, let's stay there and talk for a little bit because yes, I get it. You can't just like up and run, but there there it's not every situation that's going to come up that I'm going to be
Mhm.
like, "Oh, here's what trust repair looks like," or this can be repaired. You know what I'm saying? Like just
Mhm.
because I'm married. So I just would have wanted I would have probably had follow-up questions, but this wasn't my session. So,
Yeah, and I think that's where Jalen was also seeking guidance. Well, in what situations do you trust and repair versus not? And what situations do you pay attention to the red flags early on? And that's why I said this is an evaluation marriage to decide if you want to move forward.
yeah.
I think maybe I'm putting too much on this. Dr. Pia's mindset may be from a couple who's been together, navigated certain seasons, has years of trust and loyalty built.
Hmm.
Versus in this situation, you lying unnecessarily is a huge deal this early on.
And it's different for each person. Like there could be someone who would be perfectly within their right to say, "No, this is it for me. I want to leave." Like there is no such thing as trust repair here. It's different for different people. And so, yeah, I just would have had some follow up questions. I'm sure it comes from a place of wisdom. I think we've
Hmm.
seen Dr. Pia do her thing over seasons. I just would have wanted more information on that.
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess also maybe it could have been phrased as, Jalen, do you want to trust and repair this? And maybe she did ask, and I just didn't write it down.
Yeah,
So,
because they asked her, "Can you forgive him?" And she was like, she was very hesitant. And they were both like, we're not buying it," which was a really funny moment because they were so in sync about that. But
mhm.
um, I don't know. I also felt like what they showed us spent more time on Jalen and her forgiveness and less time on Josh and his lying.
They moved right on
But
past it onto
to
this
be
whole.
fair,
Hmm.
yeah, to be fair, it did seem like Jalen was the one who needed to talk more because she was still processing stuff.
Hmm.
So I wonder if it was, I need to talk this out, and that's why more time was spent on her.
Hmm.
But yeah, I also noted the imbalance.
Then they move on to, her saying that she was worried that, he'll just be saying yes to appease her. They bring up her not wanting to go to all these festivals, the Burning Man situation. He says that Burning Man is a big part of him. And she says, well, I still want you to go. You can just go minus me. Go have your fun. What do you think? Do
I,
people need to be aligned in their hobbies and all this to be married?
I don't think so. Like, that's why I have friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think I'm talking to this person about Love is Blind and Married at First Sight? Absolutely not. Like, that's why I have the extra for. And
Different
so
people for different reasons. However, I
yes,
do think some people feel like, well,
certain
if
things.
I'm into kayaking, I really need my person to also be in it. But then Josh says something I thought that was important. Like, okay, well, we can't just base our relationship off of these random things that we're interested in or where we feel like we have community. So I'm like, okay, he gets it. But then he was like, I I felt like in the moment he was getting it with the experts there, but
Never quite got it.
he never quite got it.
And that bothered me because I said, thank God the experts had her voice what she was feeling about the festivals. Because, she said, I barely go hiking, much less camping, and I'm with her. I'm right there with her. Uh, I think when you are looking for your person, you
Hmm.
have in your mind certain things that you want to share with them. And
Hmm.
I think this was that for Josh. But I also think once you are met with the reality of your person, they're not going to find interesting all the things that you find interesting. Like they're just not going to, and you have
And
to
even
get
if
over
they
it.
did at one point in time, that's not
That could
guaranteed. Like,
change.
what are you going to do fast forward 5 years from now and you may not even be into it? You might be off doing something else. Maybe it's a different type of festival, or you may not even be going at all. Who knows?
And I couldn't quite understand. So she was saying I would feel bad keeping him away from that because that's obviously his thing.
Hmm.
He seemed to really feel like, oh, going with his friends wasn't quite the same as what he wanted. Like I couldn't comprehend why he was making such a big deal out of it when she said, I want you to still go. I want you to still have this experience. You don't have to give it up for me. It's just that this might be the one thing I can't share with you.
I think two things. One,
Mm-hmm.
I think he's coming to the realization how big of a deal this is in his life to where
Mm-hmm.
he wants his partner to be a part of it. And two, I think unfortunately because Jalen came out of the gate so agreeable, I really thought he thought this was something he was going to break her down on. And when I say
Oh,
break her down, not in a bad way, I just thought
no.
he was like, okay, well, the honeymoon, she's open to adventure. She's stepping outside her comfort zone. And so he's surprised that she's standing on business with this.
Yeah. I think he's starting to real. You know how you could say something, yeah, I don't really like beaches, said no one ever, but I don't really like
Mhm.
beaches. And your partner might think, oh, okay, so it's okay to go to the beach. They just don't want to spend all day out there in the
Mhm.
sand. And you're like, no. When I tell you I don't like beaches, I don't even want to go. I'd rather be in the mountains. So I
Yeah.
think that's what's happening here. And ultimately, I do think Josh just needs to get through this, like work through this,
Yeah.
and go and enjoy his Burning Man for 7 days out in the desert.
And in fact, y'all get to the point where you progress to have kids, you might be like, oh, I get a break. Like, it's okay to enjoy
Yeah.
things separately.
And I think Pia did a good job of helping them see, or Dr. Pia did a good job of helping them see that, hey, even though she doesn't like outdoors, that doesn't mean y'all are completely different. Like, what do you
Mm-mm.
seek in these communities that she also can understand? Like, find the common ground as opposed to, okay, she wants to be at the spa, I want to be outside. We're so different.
Hmm.
I thought
Yeah.
that was cool. But yeah, you didn't share how you think about your partners having the same the same interests.
I think if it aligns, great. I think I agree with Dr. Pia on focusing in on the core values
Hmm.
and personality traits.
Yeah.
And then all those other things are just kind of the icing on the cake. Now, I will say my perspective is definitely biased because of my life experience. So, I can definitely understand people wanting to be more aligned because it would seem easier. But I think if life has taught me anything, it's up and down, ebbs and flow, left and right. And unless you want to be in a position where you feel like you're choosing your partner versus your hobby, or you feel less connected because their interests pivot 10 years down the road, I mean, you'd hope that you can still find that common ground. So,
But
yeah.
even later on, so Jalen was afraid of Josh being upset that she
Hmm.
doesn't want to go to these things, right? Uh, it seemed to me that Josh was still trying to convince her to be okay with going when she clearly was not.
Hmm.
And it started to feel like that Beyonce song. The first time I said no is like I never said yes.
Hmm.
That's exactly how this started to feel. Because when he starts talking about how her passion for cycle is similar to his passion for Burning Man, like he was really trying to paint the picture for her, but it's not the same. It just
It's
isn't the
not
same.
it's not adding up. And he also kept saying, "Well, you should just try it just once because I tried a cycling class." No, sir. It's not the same. And I think this is where I think he could learn from just respecting a bit of boundaries. Like, she's her own full adult
Yeah.
human. If
Yeah.
it's a boundary for her that this is something, it could be any insert thing that she doesn't want to do,
Hmm.
then you should just focus on that. I also think he kind of merged two things together. It's the whole hobby interest aspect of it, but then it's also the community part. And so he also
Right.
brings in, like, well, that's my community, and he poses it as, well, I want you to be a part of it. Well, y'all can find community together and separately and in other ways. And so I feel like he kind of merged two things, maybe not intentionally to wear her down, but
Yeah.
it sounds a lot different for her to basically be rejecting his community.
Hmm.
It's like, no, she just don't want to go to the desert. And that's
Yeah, for
it.
7 days. Are you kidding me? Like we've been in nature with you since we met you. We've been through the rainforest and jumping off boats and skydiving. Please, like I'm not comfortable, and I didn't have to do any of those things.
And then he's like, it would be like me asking you to give up cycling. She said you didn't,
Have to.
that you could still
Yeah.
go. She just said that she didn't want to go. So now I feel like you're being manipulative just to
Remember,
move the conversation and to wear her down even more.
I knew this day would come, and not to say anything negative about him. Like I think they can definitely work through it, but just seeing how he kept like pushing her outside of her comfort zone, and I just knew it would be an issue the first time that
Hmm.
she pushed back, and it just so happened that the first time she's pushing back is something that's extremely important to him.
Hmm.
And they showed this clip because she mentioned that he said it wasn't that big of a deal. They did show the clip of when they were on the honeymoon at the
Oh,
table
yes.
eating dinner, and he said, okay, it's not that big of a deal, which again, I understand now he's realizing it is, and we are allowed to change our minds and communicate that with our partner.
I call Cap.
But
He
yeah,
just thought in that moment he could wear her down and he could
yeah,
convince
I
her
agree.
of it.
I
So,
agree. I agree. Um, Yeah, so I was really confused. I said, is it me or is he pretending like she's saying if she doesn't go, he can't go? Anyway, uh,
Then he
wow.
started crying. He's like, how do I find, that passion? Huh.
Sorry, because there's one more thing.
Mm,
Because you mentioned manipulation, I wrote that down when he
mhm.
said, "Oh yeah, I need community," probably because I didn't have my mom.
Yeah, he did
I,
say that.
I felt uneasy about that. It's his story, so he can. But I just think he knows what's going to like pull on her heartstrings a little bit.
He's
It's
merging a
weird to
lot of
admit.
different things.
Yeah, and that's not to say he's the worst person in the world, but I
Mhm.
do think he was being very strategic with the things that he threw out there.
And
But
then
yeah,
he bought out the tears to try and
mhm,
seal the deal. But I love that she stood on business and she
love
just
it.
said, like we can seek community together. We can find other ways to connect outside of a festival. And also for me, it's like this festival is maybe twice a year, however many times. I'm not even sure.
I
But
just heard about it with this
when,
season of Married at First Sight.
yeah, it's like, but when you consider all of what you may gain in a life partner, it's
Come
like,
on,
dude,
Yosha.
are you really going to forfeit that for
Right.
14 days out of the year?
Yeah. And Jayla says something like she's worried about him feeling like he's giving up everything for her. Like, are we missing something? Because what is he giving up for you that he hasn't willfully like you have this is the only thing as far as we know that you have she's not even requesting she's just requesting that she doesn't go, so really the only thing she's asked for or required of him is the whole ex situation. Everything else, it's he is the one who decided not to sign the prenup. She didn't ask for
Mm-hmm.
none of that, right? um and for Burning Man, she just doesn't want to go, but he's able to still go and experience that. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, girl, if he's resenting you over this one thing,
Tell him you'll go to ACL and call it a
what
day.
is that? Is that another one? I don't know
It's
anything
just
about.
a music festival in Austin. It's
Oh,
like,
Austin City Limits.
yeah, the city limits. It's like 3 days. Say you'll go all 3 days, but you go home to your own bed
Yeah.
and leave it at that.
Okay. So yeah, that was interesting. Do we do Pat and Rhonda and then
Mm-hmm.
okay, cool. We
Yeah.
get Brittany and Will. All right. This was the episode for Pat and Rhonda where they were driving to her father's grave.
Mm-hmm. So
And
they're
he's driving. I guess he misses a turn or something like that. While she's telling a story, she redirects
mm-hmm.
him, and then he picks back off on the last thing that he remembered.
Mm-hmm.
And she's upset now because she was way past that point in the story, but that's the last thing he remembered.
Yeah, says he's not curious about her. I don't know. You having this in-depth conversation around your family history,
Mm-hmm.
where I felt even as a viewer in that short time, like, oh, we're getting a lot of details, and
Hmm.
he's driving. I don't know. I think I didn't think it was purposeful on his part.
It never is. But
Like,
I just didn't see why she would get upset with it. First of all, I if you're telling me a story, as far as my memory goes, I'm always
mhm,
like I'm hearing you, but if you stop mid story and you're like, where was I again? I will never be able to tell you because I am stuck on something that you
mhm.
were saying before the last thing, you know? Like it's hard for me to just like um come up with what you were just speaking about.
Oh yeah, you're not studying for a test. You're just listening. And
Yeah.
then, you'll retain maybe the high points
Right.
and not the specific
So
details.
when you say to me, "Oh, where was I?" It'll take me a second. I'm like, "Okay, in a few minutes I'll remember." But in this moment, I just can't. And so I felt bad for Mr. Pat because I saw myself in him and he was being curious about her. Like he missed a turn, readjusted, and then he was the one who said, "Okay, please
Hmm.
go back to your story. Tell me what it was." And so I do think Miss Rhonda just needs to relax a little bit. a lot of it.
Yeah, she needs to relax a lot. So they get to the grave. She awkwardly asks him, "Do you have anything to say?"
That was really awkward.
Miss Rhonda.
What would he have to say? He said, "Well, nice to meet you."
Nice, not even nice to meet you. Nothing. Oh God.
What could he say? What more do you want from me?
Sorry, whatever happened to you. I wish you were here. I could have met you. She was already in a heightened state of emotion
Yeah.
as he called out.
Yes.
And then I think at some point he did ask, I don't know if they were back in the car, but
Yeah.
he asked, well, how long ago did he pass? I remember her saying the age in which the
Like
dad died.
she was 19.
And so then she said it had been 40 something years. So, since she's had her dad here.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's also driving again. And so she gets irritated that he doesn't remember.
How many years? Mr. Pat, you just need a notepad when she's talking. Actually, you need a video, an audio recording
Yeah.
so that you can play it back.
I guess for me, I think I'm a person where I would maybe feel away if you forgot something more significant.
Like my birthday.
Yeah, my birthday, or if you're my partner, it's like, oh, you should know what my favorite food is,
Yeah.
or my favorite holiday.
Or did something. Yeah.
Like we tell each other stories all the time, and we have to remind each other.
We have to remind ourselves. Do you know how many voice notes we send a day? Did I tell you about, like.
Terrible. And so later on, he swerves off into a parking lot. He's like, no,
I can't take it anymore.
we're dealing with this right now. I'm not driving an hour back with you
know how
on
bad
me.
it gotta be for you to pull up on the side.
The way her eyes was looking when he swerved in that parking lot, she was like,
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, you pushed him there. And so he says, that he's frustrated. I'm proud of him for voicing how he feels. When you scold me, she says that she didn't realize it.
Well, girl, maybe just like he has to take the extra effort to realize when he's cutting you off, or when he's not being curious, or when he's speaking about himself in a moment when you're trying to share about you, maybe you need to make the extra effort to notice when you're evaluating and scolding. Because he said, I'm constantly under evaluation. And it's true.
It's true. And to be fair, I feel as though, and I'm not saying that she talks too much, but we hear more. If we were calculating words per episode, Miss Rhonda would have to be 50% more than Mr. Pat.
Oh, 75.
And so this whole thing of not being heard and not being seen, they both apologize, but if you're talking that damn much, like, how much you expect this man to remember? Be for real. This man he's almost 60 years old. You forgot his name at the altar. We're not going to forget about that, Miss Rhonda. So where's your grace for him? You want all the grace.
I know. I was proud of her for apologizing, because I would not have guessed it, honestly, but she did. Yeah.
And he apologizes as well.
Yeah.
Later at the apartment, she says, and I'm proud of her for reflecting and giving it some more thought. Mm-hmm. She says, she's trying to figure out why she keeps pressing this issue of being seen and heard. She connects it back to one of her insecurities around her childhood, where she felt as though her dad subconsciously favored her sister more than her because they had similar interests. And so she's felt the need to be seen and heard in relationships because maybe she didn't have that as a child.
She wasn't chosen.
Yeah, she wasn't chosen.
Yeah. And I think that's a great observation. It could also be just something that she needs to work out one-on-one with a therapist. I don't know that he needs to, of course he needs to be mindful so that it's not triggering her, but it could also just be something that she needs to recognize in herself and see how she can shut down that pattern before she spirals.
Yeah, because it can't all be on Mr. Pat to make you feel seen, heard, and chosen.
Yeah.
Like, you have
Yeah.
to resolve some of that within yourself.
Yeah.
So,
I remember she was talking about him being insecure. This is an insecurity too, and
mhm.
I mean we all have them. It's
Yeah, we all
fine, but
do.
okay,
And he reassures her and he says, I choose you. And so,
which was very sweet. I like
mhm.
Mr. I like this cast. I think they're a really good job selecting these people for entertainment and for like interesting relationship
Hmm.
dynamics.
And I think the age differences are working out
Amazing.
well.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. Okay, Brittany and Will.
um,
Okay, so the experts come to see them. Oh, we didn't talk about Megan and Derek this episode.
we
We'll end with
did,
them.
but we didn't talk about the big
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
So we'll end with that. Okay. Brittany and Will. So the experts come. She says she's feeling a block and the feelings aren't as far as along as she thought they would be.
Hmm.
They both agree that it's been good though. And he feels like they've made a lot of progress while she's
Hmm.
like, have we?
But she also says she likes him more and more each day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're in sync in that way. And like, yeah, it's getting better.
Yeah.
But she thought she would be feeling more, and he's cautiously looking forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Uh You know what's interesting with these two? I alluded to it earlier, but with the how he takes a step forward and then two steps back
mhm.
with his words. I think the thing with Will is he's caught up on the step that he took forward, and Brittany's caught on the two steps he took back. And that's where they're missing each other. Cause he's like, oh, if decision day were today, it would be a yes. But in a few weeks, it could be, okay, so now like you gave me hope with, oh, if decision day were today, it would be a yes. That assures me that we're on a good path. We're moving forward. But now you just yanked me back with the,
Mhm.
oh, but in a few weeks, it could be a no. How am I supposed to find stability here?
And I think that's the obvious, but I think he, for whatever reason, feels the need to reiterate it. But obviously, it's not enough security for Brittany to feel like she can move forward. Um,
Shoot, anybody.
yeah, I feel like also they both struggle with the same things. They both struggle with vulnerability. They both struggle with communication.
Mm.
Like,
Interesting.
but
Yeah,
in
but in
different
different
ways.
ways.
In different ways, but they don't see how the other is struggling with the same thing.
Hmm.
So,
Brittany has a lot to say and is like struggling to say it. Will
mhm.
Will just ain't got nothing. But he needs to do like the thinking and the processing that she does. Maybe he needs some of that. It happened
Mhm.
again when the experts were saying, okay, have y'all talked about anything after this experiment? And he says, I'm okay with living at your house, but I'm gonna still keep my apartment,
Mhm.
which I'm glad like the experts were there so they were able to like ask a little bit more about him or about that decision. Like, oh, I just re-signed my lease, so it would make sense for me to
Mhm.
keep it and not break the lease. Also, if we needed to do something in the city. Like once the
Mhm.
explanation came, perfect. But if you're just there with your partner without the neutral third party and you're like, oh yeah, I'm okay with living at your place, but I'm keeping mine. It just sounds like, okay, so you need a backup plan? Like, what's going on?
And I think the follow-up to that would be, even though, he shouldn't have said it the way that he did, it would be like, okay, well, why would you keep the
Why?
apartment? Like, it
Yes.
doesn't have to lead to a meltdown or you
Argument.
being in your
Yeah.
feelings for the rest of the day. So I
Hmm.
think it would need to be a ping pong thing.
Yeah.
But I think for Brittany, she doesn't want to put forth too much
Yeah.
like inquiry because she doesn't want, I don't know.
Also, okay, this I think is just how Will is. And so, say this is a long lasting relationship, maybe over years he can unlearn being that way.
Mm-hmm.
But during those years, she will have to bear the brunt of asking those, like not getting in her feelings, not having a natural human reaction because she has to push through and ask the questions and then try to get clarity through her own feelings, you know?
Because
Um,
he's going to give her a very short, to the point
I don't understand why you don't understand type of.
answer. And she has to evaluate, do you even want to be dealing with that? But
I don't
then
think she does. Somebody might, but for her personality and what she's looking for, I wouldn't.
it, and then when they were probing her on how Will responded made her feel, she says, I've been feeling like I'm walking on eggshells. And she admits that she hasn't told that Will this before. And this is where I'm like, see, both of y'all are struggling with communication.
Yes, because once she tells him, I think we've seen enough of Will where
Hmm.
he's trying,
Hmm.
um, but he can't work out what he doesn't know.
And he says, well, they ask, do you want to provide a space for her to feel more secure? And he says, I do. It's
I
something
thought I
that,
was.
yeah, I thought I wasn't, but I know I need to work on. Um, I I just think she really has to think about is his abrasiveness.
And I
Like,
feel bad, like saying that because I like Will, and I don't get he's just not trying in this process, or he really dislikes her. Like we've seen some couples where the
hmm
person dislikes the other and the people just aren't trying. I don't think that is this. And so I hate saying like, oh, she has to evaluate if he's the one for her because yeah, he has that abrasiveness. It's just his reality though.
because also he could be paired with someone else who wouldn't
Who's
take
just
as
as
much.
funny.
Yeah. Yeah, or would just wouldn't take as much issue with it. Like they themselves are more direct and to the point, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not, I don't even want to say it's sensitive. They just wouldn't see it as big of an issue. But I
Yes.
think for her, if it is, I think that that's perfectly fine.
They need to
It
be
just may,
friends.
yeah, it just may be a mismatch. Brittany also acknowledges too that she herself is really guarded.
To be honest, I'm not gonna hold you. I wouldn't unguard myself if I were her. I just wouldn't. Like for me, the decision would already be made if I were Brittany.
Hmm. Dr. Pia says, he may not tell you with his words, but he has his own way of showing emotional closeness.
His way isn't working for her.
Yeah.
It just isn't. Uh, and then she said something else. She said, oftentimes your reaction is a rebuttal and not an acknowledgement of what's being said. I thought that was really
Hmm.
useful for them. Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of Will, like the Will that we saw in the first few episodes, where I was like, I don't know what's going on here. I think he's definitely learning. It's just going to take time, and it's not going to be 8 weeks.
And
It
I
might
think
not
this
even
is
be
just
eight
how he
years.
is. I honestly feel like this is just how he is. I was going
Yeah,
back and forth, like, is this on purpose? But then I see him interact with other people where she's not there and they're getting a very similar version of
yeah,
him.
it's really just him, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I think they're just people who it could be a better match, because I don't want to sit here and be like, well, he has to change so much
Mhm.
about himself. Like some things you can't unlearn at this age.
Or like with Megan and Derek, he may have enough patience to deal with her
Or
0 to
shenanigans.
100. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he may. But another person may not, to where she would have to change in order for it to work
Yeah,
with that person.
yeah, they both need to do some type of something.
So, okay.
Anyway, she brings him to see his family, and he mixed well with them. I thought that was really nice. Uh,
Hmm.
both of them were, he and her mom were talking about her being bubbly, and like, I
Hmm.
guess she
Girl.
thinks she's more bubbly than she is. But yeah, her family was adorable. It felt like high school when they were making them kiss in front of them. I was like, oh
I
my God.
know.
I
Oh,
was
not in
dying
front
of
of
secondhand
Auntie.
embarrassment. I don't know. I'm not like a big PDA person, so it was just I had to fast forward.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, all right. So
Mm.
we'll end this episode talking about Megan and Will. They
You mean
take a
Megan and
pregnancy
Derek?
test. Oh yeah, Megan and Derek. Sorry.
It's okay.
But yeah, they take a pregnancy test or two pregnancy tests, and she's
Hmm.
expecting. And that
Yeah.
takes us into episode 10.
I think, is this the first Married at First Sight couple to be expecting while filming?
Oh, Married at First Sight. Probably.
Like
Yeah.
she's so
I can't think
early,
of
even
any.
before the first ultrasound could happen. So things happen pretty quickly.
Things did happen
Child.
very quickly. Um, and then they're going into the retreat. So they were talking about how they have to have certain conversations now because if they're expecting a child together, that's a big deal. I don't remember if it was on the previews for the next few episodes or if it was in this episode where Megan's like, just because we're having a child together, that doesn't mean we have to be together. And so I don't know, maybe they have different perspectives on that too.
Yeah, like does it solidify how
A
he
yes on
feels or
decision.
she feels?
Yeah.
A child is, I mean, y'all will be connected anyways. You won't have a choice.
Very true. Very
Ooh.
true. But yeah, episode 10, this is where they go to the couples retreat, which I
Mm-hmm.
thought was a beautiful home. And I
Mm-hmm.
liked this episode because we really got to see fun and funny Megan.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed her this episode a lot. They go in early, they set up pranks for people,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I don't know. There
Mm.
there wasn't a whole lot this episode.
And we don't
Yeah.
see Pat and Miss Rhonda. They're at her family reunion, which I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know white people had family reunions, but now I know. Well, you
Yeah.
mostly hear about us having a family reunion. But
Yeah.
anyways, they were having a good time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you want to pick up with, I have mine kind of in order
Of what
of
happened.
what happened.
So
Yeah.
like girl time, the women get together
Hmm.
and start talking. And in this conversation, Belinda was saying that she's a definite yes for decision day. Because at this point,
Hmm.
it's what, 10 days out from decision day?
More than that, I thought. 15?
Okay,
Maybe,
maybe.
yeah. Okay.
Less than 20.
Yeah, less than 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So she was saying she's a yes. Brittany said, yeah, he'll say something that I've been waiting for and it's the best thing ever. And then he'll say something that walks it all back, which yeah, we
Hmm.
noticed. uh, and then Jalen and Josh, like that, it comes up that the whole Burning Man thing, and they're trying to figure out what they can do together, which he'll take time to figure out.
Yeah, and they also have this, they're missing each other on, I guess, what her version of community is versus his.
Which is almost, it's almost seeming like she feels like she can be the community that he doesn't have, and that'll never work. Like whatever it is that he's looking for, you're something different outside of that.
And I think she's also like, well, you're already in community. And he's
Mhm.
like,
He
well, I
doesn't see
don't,
that.
those are just my friends, or that's just going to a workout class.
Yeah.
That's not community to me. So they're seeing past each other.
Mhm.
And I think they're both right, in their
Yeah.
own way. It's just I guess they're trying to get on the same page, but I don't necessarily feel like do you need to? I don't know.
Yeah, she at least needs to understand. They at least need to get on the same page that, okay, what it means for me isn't what it means for you. And there's no way, there's nothing I can say to make it mean for you what it means for me. Like they need to get on the same page as far as that.
And
Beyond
it
that, I don't think, yeah.
and it seems as though she kind of started to take it personal,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in terms of
Yeah.
him being like, oh well, that's not really community, and she's like, well, how do you not understand? I'm the queen of community. I'm in here and this, I have I bring people together. So
Yeah.
she's slighted by him maybe being dismissive of the
Her
community
idea
that
of
she's
community.
within. I
Mm-hmm.
said, oh,
Yeah.
I've never heard nothing like this, but okay.
Yeah. And I appreciated Belinda stepping in and saying, it's not that he doesn't appreciate you and what you have going on. It's just that that doesn't mean the same thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, other than that, Uncle Chad is on the grill. He's cooking for everybody.
That's one thing he gonna do is make a good meal, and I love that
Love
for
that.
Belinda.
Love it. Okay. I don't know. There's not much except like Jalen and Josh. They have these conversations about the community thing,
Mm-hmm.
and Jalen breaks down one night in the bedroom and says, "I'm trying to tell you what I need for once. Just give me what I want."
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is probably, if they stay together, going to be a recurring theme for them.
This is another one where I felt like they were just seeing past each other. He was trying to say to her, I didn't understand your version of community before. Now I get it. Like that was the issue I was having. And she was just wanting him to acknowledge that she does have community.
Mhm.
This felt like a very, I don't want to say pointless conversation, but it was just kind of like,
When you're in the thick of it, it means the world. It does, and you could tell, like to the point of tears. This
I
girl was
think
like,
she just wanted him to concede in that moment,
mhm.
as she maybe has done. But Jalen maybe learned from him.
"Don't concede so much." No, I'm just kidding.
Stand
Because it
on
sounds like
business.
we're trying to give her bad advice on not like being amenable in the relationship. We're not trying to do that,
No. Yeah.
but
I also said too, all jokes aside, I wonder if it's also just their differences in upbringing that are kind of showing through around like the way he views and sees certain things is obviously shaped by his upbringing and the way she was raised. So when Belinda was saying maybe it's a lack of knowledge, like y'all aren't seeing each other on these things,
yeah,
maybe because of some foundational things and just life experiences, and that it's not a slight against you or a slight against him. It's
yeah.
just y'all are different.
Like she's always found community in being active because she was in a lot of sports growing up, and
Right. And she didn't have to get into maybe a certain specific thing to find
mhm,
community.
yeah,
And maybe for him, he didn't see his grandparents and friends as community. He saw it as something else he had to seek.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Um,
hmm.
okay. Let's talk about this awkward pickleball match with with Brittany and Will and Megan and Derek.
Okay.
So they all go to play pickleball, and then I guess they're taking a break in the game,
Yeah.
and they're trying to figure out what Brittany can improve upon, and
Well,
Will isn't saying anything. Like,
I think Megan and Derek were talking about ways in which they've improved their communication and how they address things that they don't like about each other. And
mhm,
then Will chimes in and says something about working on communication style and him being less abrasive and not so analytical. And then Brittany was like, well, that's for you, but what about some things for me? And he was just like, well, I think things are fine. And that wasn't enough for her. She pressed and was like, so you're telling me I'm perfect. There's nothing that I need to work on. He gets agitated and he's like, okay, well, yeah, you did have an attitude or you were in the mood this morning that maybe I wasn't fond of, but it's not a big deal.
here's the thing. One, Brittany, that just it was just wasn't the place. It just wasn't the place to do that. I think. Also, with
Okay.
yeah, I just didn't think it was the place to push as much as she did. Um, but for him, I think he's in a situation where somebody actually wants to hear the critiques, and he has to give her something. Like everything can't always be just great.
But I don't think that it has been with him. I think when they've sat with the experts, he's called out like her communication. Like
When
I
they
felt
sit
like
with the experts, though.
right, so they've had a couple of sessions where he said this is something that I think she could work on. And he also said like I know it's going to take time. I in that moment took it as I'm not. nitpicking you on your mood you're in or your hair that you're leaving around. Like, I'm focused on bigger things, but the bigger things that may be an issue, I know that that's not going to be resolved in a matter of a few weeks or a few days. Like, if there's something about you, like your lack of communication, lack of vulnerability, like those are bigger shifts around maybe you as a person that I'm not going to call out. So I kind of understood what he was saying. Like, I'm not saying you're perfect, but is this a time or place to rehash what I maybe brought up with Dr. Pia and Pastor Cal? No. And I think Brittany's looking for, like, tell me what's wrong so I can fix it. But it's like, I kind of get what he's saying. Well, yeah, you being in a bad mood or that morning, like, it could have been better, but I've moved on past it.
Mhm. Yeah.
But you
Like
not
he
being
said later on, I
vulnerable.
was trying to give you something.
Right. He's like, okay, well, if you really must know, and he said your mood really wasn't that big of a deal, but I brought it up in that moment, so it was something. So I agree, time and place. I also agree, like with Miss Rhonda, she needs to take a page out of Will's book. Like, if you've noticed something about this person that's like kind of how they are, it's going to take time for them to improve upon it. So then do you keep nitpicking them about it?
Yeah. So I feel like she wants more vulnerability from him, but like Brittany level of vulnerability. And I
Mm-hmm.
just don't think he has that. Either way, I didn't think it was the time and place to even have that conversation. Because now you got Megan and Derek over there like Derek want to finish the game. Megan's like, no, I think we should just let it go. And we're just sitting here awkwardly. It's just
And I feel like the thing she was calling out, like, oh, well, he's not being vulnerable or he doesn't communicate. Well,
Mhm.
Brittany, you do the same thing, but in a different way.
She does. She does.
And what she called out about Will has been something that she had been calling out this whole time about like the language that he uses and being abrasive and all those things. Like, we know that. So I think from his perspective, he's like, I don't have to keep rehashing certain things about you, especially in front of other people.
I think Brittany's trying to figure out why they're not farther along.
Mm-hmm.
And so it will almost make her understand better if he did have things that she could fix on. Like she probably feels like he's not giving me anything. Like is this just how it is? You know? She keeps feeling like there's more to it. There's more to it. I don't think
And
there
maybe so she
is.
can work on those things. But I'm kind of with Will, like in both of the areas that they need to work on, neither one of you are going to readily be able to change it probably within the span of this process.
Yeah. Yeah. For her, I think she's like, is he not bringing things up because he just doesn't care? Or is there really just nothing? And so when he says not that I agree with it, but then when he says, I mean, your attitude this morning, she's like, okay, so that was something you should have said that. But for him, it's like, I wouldn't have even
I wouldn't even said it.
thought to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I moved past it.
But I could kind of see like, okay, how many things are you gonna move past? She doesn't have any data for this, by the way. But
mm-hmm.
so I don't think this applies in her situation. But since she's an overthinker, maybe it's a thing of how many things, small things, are you gonna move past, and then eventually one day they'll become a bigger thing, and then I'll hear about it, and it's out of nowhere. Again, she doesn't have any data for this, but if she's an overthinker, which I think she is.
And I think too, it depends on what the things are.
Hmm.
If a person is really into you, you waking up on the wrong side of the bed is not going to be the thing. It's not. Your hair shedding, is probably not going to be the thing. It may be your lack of vulnerability, but it may be bigger things that where they feel like even for her in the way that Will communicates, him leaving the toilet seat up or down may not be the thing, but it may be the way that he's talking to her. That could be the thing.
Yeah.
So
I appreciated the talk that he had with with Derek. I think that might have helped a little bit to just shed some light on stuff. For Brittany, she says she's trying to figure out if she's his one. And she might be. Um, I don't know.
Mm.
But I think what we're realizing is that he's not her one. Like he's not it
Mm.
for her. And yeah, that's just what I need her to see.
Yeah. When he was talking with Derek, I believe
Mhm.
he said that she hyper focuses on things that makes it hard to bring things up. Um, I don't know.
I think this idea of her being the one for him, I I can see that he really likes her.
Mm-hmm.
I think from her perspective, if I were his one, there would be more emotion. There would be more this, there would be more that, because that's what love looks like for her. I don't think he gets that.
Mm-mm.
Or maybe we could all be wrong and there will be a person who comes along who
Mm-hmm.
just does it for him. But I didn't think she was wrong for questioning that.
Yeah, she says she feels like she's not getting what she's giving in her conversation with Belinda when they were sitting by the pool. And Belinda says, it takes time. It's going to take time for him to show love in the way that she needs it.
Mm-hmm.
I think reiterates how Brittany currently feels. Says that,
Jalen's
it,
team, Brittany.
yeah, she's like, I feel like if he was the one, he would just know and he would do it.
Which I typically don't agree with. I think you always have to like say something like to make it perfect, but I a part of me does feel like it might be farther along. Like what she's looking for is farther along in the emotional department. That's why when they had dinner later on and she had to leave and she was crying and she said it feels like everybody gets it except for him. I can
Mm-hmm.
understand that frustration. And it's because for this particular area, for this particular piece, she wants her person to already have that.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other things that, she can work on or that he doesn't have to have perfected. But this emotional piece that he's missing, this not being able to read the room, this not being able to
Mm-hmm.
make her feel secure, like is a big chunk of what she needs that just isn't there with Will. Not because he's a bad person, just because he is
Yeah.
what he is.
And I think the process also just doesn't help. Like,
No,
you're in a fast track relationship.
a
I think
fact that
also,
committed relationship.
yeah, marriage. And so I think for her, she had her thoughts on how she should feel by now, how she thought her person would feel.
Mhm.
I think she envisioned her person not being so guarded. So, like, for where they're at in the process, I think she thought they would be a heck yes, I'm all in. I'm
Mhm.
yes on decision day. And that's not what she's going to get from Will. He's going to be evaluating until the very last second.
Yeah, I think what sucks for him is like his evaluation doesn't help her. Like because of his evaluation process, she might end up
Hmm.
being a no on decision day
And I
when
think
he's a
that
yes.
that may be fine. When they were, I believe, Will, I think they were back in the bedroom, and Will was, asking her like, "Hey, how are you feeling?"
Yeah.
She's crying. He presses her, and she's like, "No, no, I'm fine." I'm like, "Girl."
You know you're not. We know you're not fine. The camera crew knows you're not fine. If you don't speak up,
And this is y'all are both doing the same thing.
y'all are y'all are killing us. I'm too
For
nice. No,
for
what did
somebody
Emma
like
say?
she's doing a whole lot of crying, a whole lot of facial expressions, but to her she's saying a whole lot.
Yeah. Neither one of them says what they need to say when they need to say. He's
But
like,
to her, she's like, I'm giving so much, I'm saying so. Girl, you're not saying a whole lot. And he's saying too much at the wrong times, or not saying enough.
I really like these two, not together, But I really like these two as people. I hope they find their person.
And then she says, oh, I know you care. I'm just trying to see that you're my person.
Hmm.
And she says, well, maybe I'm all in my head. Girl,
I I think she's all in her head. Yes, she's an overthinker, but I think you know how some people bring different parts out of you, right? Like I
mm-hmm.
think he makes her, by being who he is, it causes her to lean into her overthinker maybe a little bit more
Mm.
than she would with another person. So
And I
it's
think
just not a
so.
good match.
And Will said something. He was like, I'm willing to work on responding softer. And
Yeah,
she says, it's much more than that. And
yeah,
that's where I think she needs to sit. Like, I think he's like, well, I'm going to work on what you told me.
yeah. But what she needs him to work on is just getting it. Which,
Mm-hmm.
if he's getting it 75% of the time, and she got to work on the other 25, great. But the numbers aren't numbering.
And then when they get to dinner,
That's
um,
when
you,
she cried. Yeah.
you know, Will says, he needs to work on his communication and it's not, I feel like the group gets him together. I will say, compared to other people in the past where like the group has kind of confronted them, not
Hmm.
confronted, but they're laying it on thick about this is what you need to be doing and how
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
felt as though he responded very well to the
I thought so
feedback.
too. And I think it could be two things. Just one, who he is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't seem opposed to feedback at all. Like, there hasn't been, with the exception of being on the honeymoon and her coming back and saying, "Oh, you're like Megan. I get it now."
Mm-hmm.
And him rejecting that. I think he's been very receptive to feedback. So I think it's him. I think it also could be the environment that the other people have created for each other. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it feels maybe like a safe space. So he's able to listen to them and trust that they have his best interest at heart.
Yeah, because she was saying, I think when they were playing pickleball, that well, he gets maybe defensive and he doesn't notice it, and
Yeah.
I don't get much from him, and
Hmm.
like whenever she's giving feedback,
Yeah.
when the group gives him feedback,
Hmm. Well, to be fair, the time that we have seen him get defensive, it was with her one on one.
yeah,
And it wasn't with the group. So I don't think it would ever be with the group.
yeah,
So yeah, but
mm,
I don't get that he's opposed to feedback. Like, even with the thing
mm,
with Megan on the honeymoon, I think it was just that, no, you're like, you misunderstand completely, and now I have to
mm.
correct the misunderstanding. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah. So I think we end with her going to the bathroom and breaking down, and
yeah, which I can see why she's so frustrated. I really can. And I think ultimately it's just that he's not your person. And it can kind of suck to make that call when the person is like, "Oh, I'm willing to try."
yeah, I'm willing to see this through the
Yeah.
end. And I think for her, she doesn't want to be drugged to decision day. She's like, well, let me know now.
I think it's even more than decision day, in my opinion. Like, it's, do I want to feel like this
Mm-hmm. Do I want to play her?
forever
Yeah,
or
like we're
for as
husband and
long?
wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, well,
Mm. Oh,
I think Pat and Rhonda had a little argument.
the same argument, basically.
Yeah. So, but this
Mm.
time they were out at her family reunion when it happened. I don't know. Next
Mm-hmm.
episodes include Decision Day. I don't know if we're
Mm-hmm.
getting the reunion as well, but
Mm.
I,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah. But I've enjoyed this season so far. I think it's
I've
the best
enjoyed
season.
it. I don't
Wow.
see. I don't enjoy Brittany being in distress. I don't enjoy Jalen being pushed to do things she don't really feel like doing. But
I
I've
don't I
enjoyed the
don't enjoy
structure.
seeing Will really trying, but just that disconnect where he can't try enough fast enough to be where she wants him to be. And
And I
that's
want
supposed
her
to
to
make
make
you
an
the good guy.
independent decision on
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
even if he was to turn around tomorrow and be all in and showing you everything that you need, like, girl,
That'll
evaluate
be
is,
hard on her. Because you never want to let go of a good person. Like, like someone who you know is a good person and you see all the potential with. So I know that's going to be a tough decision for. I mean, look at her now. it's, it's already a tough decision.
every scene, I'm just like, oh my gosh, Brittany, no.
Yeah, it is painful, but I am
Mm.
loving just the group dynamic. We didn't talk about the water fight. Megan was big mad when they did the water.
Well, you could dish it, but you can't take it.
Listen,
Yeah, it's
but
what it is.
she recovered. She was like, at least I get to wash my hair, and now I get to look
Mhm.
good for dinner. Well, that's right. You
Mhm.
better, make lemonade out of lemons or whatever.
Yeah.
All right,
All
that's it
right.
for
Yep,
you.
that's it.
Okay. Well, let us know in the comments your thoughts, and we'll see y'all for the next few episodes. Bye.
Bye.